moment I saw Emily in a midtown hotel lobby, I tried to leave it, but it was too late. She said my name so loudly and cheerfully that there was no way I could pretend not to hear. I must have shouted hers back, because within seconds, she was in front of me wearing sensible heels. Okay.
Maybe familiarize yourself with that article first a little.
No. We're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. Sensible heels and a floral dress. I remember her rattling off the standard checklist of pleasantries. It had been so long. How was I? How was my family? The only thing I remember saying back, my Uber is here. It wasn't, in fact. I had never even ordered an Uber. Instead, I hid behind a hot dog cart on 47th Street, frantically puffing a banana. Okay, hold on. What's second? Frantically puffing.
I'm okay.
Why is this fucking funny? Frantically puffing a banana.
A banana? I don't remember this part of the article. I really don't.
Frantically puffing a banana-flavored vape. I stole from my friend's pocket. Are you okay? He asked. You look like you just saw a ghost. I took a long exhale, more like a demon. Emily and I were once students at the same private school in Connecticut. We played on the same basketball team, went to the same field trips in Washington, D.C., and read Pride and Prejudice together in the same English class. An old Facebook photo even shows us in the same pre-prom photo, smiling with our corsages. Emily was smart, friendly, and kind. Everyone liked Emily, including me, which made it all the more confusing that she kept hovering over my bed at night. And that is an article, a Vogue article written by a Daisy Jones on August 6th, 2025, which is only a couple days from when we're recording this. I'm not entirely sure why she got so descriptive about the fucking vape and why it was banana flavored, of which I didn't know that was a fucking flavor. But that's how we're starting talking about sleep paralysis in the funniest way possible.
Yeah, I think hiding behind the hot dog cart was a little dramatic too. But hey, this shit's terrifying, so I can't blame her.
Yeah, this is an experience that most people, I don't know, most people, a lot of people have, and a lot of people don't, and a lot of people don't understand what it is, and they have to hear it from a friend or of reading something online. So, sleep paralysis is the feeling of being conscious but unable to move. It happens when you pass between stages of wakefulness and sleep. During these transitions, you may be unable to move or speak for a few seconds up to a few minutes. You might also feel pressure or a sense of choking, or have hallucinations. Sleep paralysis may come with other sleep disorders such as narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is an overpowering need to sleep caused by a problem with the brain's ability to regulate sleep.
Yeah, this is a fascinating topic, in my opinion. I'm really excited to talk about this one. This is something that I've heard about for a while now, probably a decade or so. I've known about this phenomenon. Never really quite experienced it myself, but I know people who have, and I know you have, Andre. So looking forward to hear about your experiences.
Yes, I have. I experience it on a semi-regular basis. Well, it's not regular anymore. It used to, there'll be periods where it's like it happens on a regular basis, and then periods where it just doesn't happen. Like, I don't remember the last time it happened, but yeah.
Well, should we, before we get to the interesting parts about, specific experiences, should we tackle a little bit of the science first?
Yes, we should, because I have no idea how the hell this shit works. I just know that your brain's awake and your body is asleep. I don't know why or how that happens, so let's get into that.
Yeah, there's actually been quite a lot of medical research done on this topic. It is a medical issue. It is a certified medical issue. I mean, of course, people have their theories and, they tie in paranormal stuff to it. But at its very core, it is a serious health issue. I shouldn't say serious. It's not life-threatening, but it is a verified health issue. So as you mentioned, it's a feeling of being conscious but unable to move or speak. And it often happens right as you're about to fall asleep or right before you wake up, which I didn't know before doing this research. For some reason, I had it in my mind that this just happened in the middle of the night, but that's not exactly true. It's right before you're about to fall asleep. I'm sorry, right as you're falling asleep or right before you wake up. And what it really is it happens when you pass between stages of wakefulness and sleep. So your brain is telling your body that, oh, you're asleep, so it's paralyzing your limbs, but your eyes, for some whatever reason, are open and you're sort of conscious, seeing, the room around you and potentially some things that might not be in the room around you. But we'll get to that. Typically, sleep paralysis lasts a few seconds to a few minutes, so not terribly long. As you mentioned, may come with other sleep disorders such as narcolepsy. And about 20% of people have had sleep paralysis at least once. So a good chunk of the population there. Not a majority, but a decent chunk. Talk about some symptoms of sleep paralysis. So there's a range of symptoms, and not all episodes are the same, as I'm sure we'll see in this episode. The feeling unable to move or speak, that's the very common symptom there. Some people experience difficulty breathing. Hallucinations are very common as well. Chest pressure is the phenomenon that's in a lot of these stories, and that really freaks me out because, I can't imagine not feeling able to breathe or feeling like a weight on my chest. I would not enjoy that whatsoever. A sense of suffocation. Here's a interesting one that I haven't really seen in too many cases, but it is, according to WebMD, it is a common symptom. Feeling separate from yourself or having an out-of-body experience. That kind of triggers thoughts of Insidious for me, out-of-body experiences, traveling, watching yourself when you sleep. So that's very intriguing. And a feeling of danger and or paranoia often accompany sleep paralysis. So why does sleep paralysis happen? Well, it's not entirely clear. There's a lot of different theories. Researchers right now believe it's caused by a disturbed REM cycle. That would be rapid eye movement. During REM sleep, the brain paralyzes the muscles to prevent us acting out our dreams. Because could you imagine if you're dreaming and you're fighting somebody and you start punching somebody in the middle of the night?
Start freaking punching. that has been like something that I've been afraid that I've been doing in my sleep, because I'm sometimes I'm I'll be in a dream and I'll scream really loud at something. I'll be shouting at somebody for some reason, and I wake up and later that day I'm bro, I wonder if what if I actually did shout in real life? That would have been crazy because I shouted pretty fucking loud.
Right. I think the same thing. If I'm falling in my dream or anything, I'm thinking, oh, will I fall out of the bed? Will I punch something? But it's actually no, our brain's got us, man. It paralyzes those muscles. It knows we don't want to be doing what we're doing in our dreams in real life. Maybe some people do. But that's kind of comforting to me. Our brain got us, man. It's going to prevent us from punching people in our sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes. I'm sure there's probably some disorder out there where people have a disconnect there and do punch things in their sleep. I don't know. But that's a different topic for another time. Hallucinations. So I wanted to talk a little bit about hallucinations because that is probably the basis of what we're going to be talking about today, the major topic. And that's where, of course, people tie in paranormal and demons and stuff. But at its core, at its very basic definition, hallucinations are seeing things that aren't there. And many people experiencing sleep paralysis, they experience hearing or seeing things that aren't there. So it's not only a visual experience, it's a auditory experience as well for some people. Some only have audio, some only have visuals, some have both. Now, hallucinations occur in 75% of episodes, so very common. If you've experienced sleep paralysis, you've probably had a hallucination of some sort.
Right.
Many report sensing a dangerous presence. Now, there's two different types of hallucinations. Now, I'm going to see if I pronounce these correctly. There's hypnagogic hallucinations. These are also known as waking dreams. These happen as you're falling asleep, and it's common to see things with these types of hallucinations, but not hearing things. That's less common in hypnagogic hallucinations. There's also hypnopompic hallucinations. These happen as you're waking up, and these are more common to involve sounds or physical sensations, but these hallucinations are less common than hypnagogic. Now, I wanted to make a quick note here on the human brain's capability, because we talked about hallucinations, and we'll get much deeper into the hallucinations in a short amount of time. Don't you worry about that. But the human brain's capability, when I think about hallucinations and people seeing things that aren't there, and we're going to talk about some hallucinations such as shadow people or specific figures people are seeing. It is widely believed that the human brain is incapable of generating completely new faces on its own. This isn't 100% verified fact, but researchers, most of them do believe this. And if you even think back on your experiences, maybe in your dreams, it's usually you're seeing people and if you're maybe seeing someone you don't know, maybe it's from a TV show or somebody you just saw in the park earlier today, it's very common that what your brain generates is a face that you've already seen. So yeah, in dreams, for example, the faces we see are ones we've seen before, or it could be a mix or a mashup of ones we've seen before. For example, maybe it's a familiar face, but with a different color hair or hairstyle. So your brain's tricking you into thinking you've never seen this face before, but you've seen it just with a different kind of variety. So my question is, and what I think is really interesting, because we're saying all this science and it's making it sound so normal and boring, but I promise you it's not, because we're going to get into some really interesting stuff here and some really creepy stuff. So my question is, how does the human brain create images of these creatures then that we're seeing? How are people seeing, for example, an old hag sitting on their chest?
Mm-hmm.
What is that face coming from? It could be from a movie or TV show or another work of fiction. I think that's a very common one. Or, much creepier thought is maybe we've seen these things before and we just don't remember and we don't know where we've seen them. But our brain remembers and maybe we don't. So that's a little bit of the science for background of sleep paralysis. But now we're going to dive into the good stuff and all the theories and some of the paranormal tie-ins as well as some of our experiences. So, Andre, go ahead.
All right. So I am the one here who has had many instances of sleep paralysis. Like when you're in it, you're just like, how is this happening? I've got to be dead. This is what death feels like. My body is dead and my brain is just waiting to catch up at this point. And when the sleep paralysis finally fucking releases you, you're like, what the hell just happened? And that's how it starts. And then it starts happening again and again. And you're just like, okay, am I sick? Do I need a doctor? What is going on? I mean, I'm not in pain. I don't feel sick. I look in the mirror. I don't look sick. And it just keeps happening and happening. And you're just like, I'm curious to know if anybody has like rushed to the hospital to try to figure out if something is wrong with them. Because that's not the case with me, but that would be a normal reaction, honestly, if that's happened to you and it keeps happening to you, to like rush to a doctor to be like, what is this? Am I dying and like being resuscitated or something? But in terms of my experience, some of the worst times that has happened is when I'm asleep on my like stomach. So I'm sleeping face down and it happens and I'm completely fine. I can breathe just fine, but I'm just like, this is really uncomfortable. I don't want to be stuck like this. And then it actively starts to get worse without me changing positions, breathing patterns, or anything. Now I feel like, yep, I'm suffocating. I am falling into the pillow. This is not good. Please get me out of here. And then I'm just, suffering until the sleep paralysis releases me, because that's literally like, because there has been times early in my experience where I can move my fingers, I can move my toes, but I can't wake myself up. So I literally have to just endure until my body says, "Oh, okay, we're good now." A lot of the sleep paralysis experiences that I've heard are like when the people like are paralyzed and they're looking around the room. I've never had that. My eyes have always been closed and I just see black, right? Like, I don't know if I don't even know if people are getting sleep paralyzed with their eyes actually open, or if their eyes are closed and they're just visualizing their room or anything like that. Let me know in the comments. I don't know. My eyes are always closed. I always see black. And in terms of like entities or anything like that, I don't feel or like sense any monsters or anything. If anything, I sense people coming in to help me, because that's like that's all I want in that moment, is for people. If like, I'll just be there, just waiting for the timer to freaking be up, just hoping and wishing somebody would open my door and be like, like shake me awake, be like, Andre, you're late, or something like that. Like, and for some reason, my reality, like as I'm paralyzed, just kind of starts to become that, and people start coming into my room and being like, is Andre okay? But I'm just like stuck there, and I'm like, guys, can one of y'all like shake me? Can one of y'all rock the bed? Can one of y'all clap really loud? But there's nobody in my room. I'm fucking alone. And that's basically that's all my experience with hallucinations. I don't have any sleep paralysis demons or anything like that, because like I hardly have like nightmares or anything like that. I don't really like get scared in my dreams too much, so I think that's like a result of that. Like I don't really have nightmares. I'm not really worried about going to sleep and like seeing some crazy creature or anything like that. So that's probably why I don't have demons, because I just don't, my brain doesn't care to create them, maybe. But the absolute worst of it all is that I have had multiple instances of sleep paralysis while I'm at my desk at work. So in my fucking cubicle, with absolutely no door separating me from like the hallway. So I'll literally just be at my desk in my chair. My head is back on the chair, like you fall asleep, your face is like facing the ceiling. And then I just be like, fuck, it's happening right now. I need to get out of this immediately, because somebody could walk past my freaking cubicle and see that I'm like asleep, but I'm not asleep. I'm fucking awake. Let me out. This is like, I'm being tortured at this point. And again, with how my brain works in creating all this stuff, I'm like, someone's going to walk by. Someone's going to walk by and see me. Now I start like sensing people walking by and seeing me, and I'm just like, are y'all not gonna say anything? Y'all see like oh, let me just let him sleep, like help me. But there's nobody walking by. I like, as much as I'm convinced that people have walked by my cubicle and have seen me just asleep, I'm also like, there's no way that has happened, because the people that walk by my cubicle would have woken me up. And if it was my manager would have fucking woken me up. So I'm just like, there's no way it has happened, but it just feels like it has. And it's happened multiple times when I've used to like get bad sleep and fall asleep at my desk. And sometimes it happens. The worst is when it happens, like when my head is like back in my chair. Like, cause sometimes it happens when like I'm face down on my desk on my hands. Like where I look like I'm asleep. I don't look like I'm dead in my chair. I look like I'm actually just asleep. So like, because like, I just don't want to be caught with like looking like I'm dead in my chair. Like that's what I don't want.
So have your eyes been open then when you fall asleep at work, or no?
No, my eyes are always closed. I'm always seeing black. Like there's no, like that's what that, like, I can't understand the people who have had experiences where it's like they're describing it as if their eyes are open and, oh, I'm looking around my room. Like I don't even get that, because my eyes are closed, as if like I'm just trapped in my sleeping body as an awake brain.
So how do you know you're awake though? How do you know you're awake if your eyes are closed?
Because it's not even like I'm dreaming. Like I know that I'm asleep with my head back in my chair, because I was just like, because it'll be like okay, I just got done this thing, let me just rest my head back real quick and just like breathe for a second, and then I'm stuck like that with my eyes closed, and I'm like, fuck, I'm stuck. Because like when you fall asleep and you dream, you go somewhere else, like but when I'm sleep paralyzed in that moment, I'm stuck in my chair in the same position that I know I fell asleep in. So I'm just like, okay, it's happening now.
So you don't feel like you're asleep. You feel like you're awake.
No, I don't feel like I'm asleep. I feel like I'm awake, because I feel myself in the chair in the same position that I know I chose to be in this position. So it's not like, oh, I was like sleeping face down and now I'm all of a sudden I'm asleep in the back, like leaning back in my chair. It's like, no, I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to lean back in my chair. Just take a second. And now I'm stuck for no reason. I'm just like, shit, it's happening again. I need to get up. And like, obviously when I wake up, right out of the position that I was just in, sleep paralyzed. So it's like it with that consistency of the position that I'm in, like I know I'm awake. There's no way that I'm just asleep. Because if I'm asleep, why am I not getting up and like going to freaking Narnia and having that dream? Why am I stuck here? Like forcing myself to freaking like having little freaking micro tremors in my muscles trying to get up. So that's how
And can you hear the environment around you when you're
Yes,
sleep
I can.
paralyzed?
Yes, I can because
Okay.
I usually have my ear pods in listening to like a YouTube video. I can still hear the YouTube, like I'm listening to the YouTube video play. So not even that can wake me up. I'm actually listening to the YouTube video play and I'm still stuck. That's how I know, like, okay, I'm actually stuck. I'm not dreaming. Now, sometimes, I think most of the times when I'm not listening to like a YouTube video, there's been times where I've been asleep in my chair at work. And then like I want to get up so bad that I actually like kind of start dreaming that I got up, and then I start dreaming like I'm at work and like shit's happening, and like I have a dream that I'm at work, right? But also I kind of still feel like I'm in the chair. So it's kind of like my body, like my like I've been describing before, like I'm thinking I want to get up, I want to get up, I want to get up. So I like my body, my brain is like forced to like in a desperate attempt to escape the paralysis, I start dreaming that I got up and I started doing things, but actually I didn't. So I'm kind of like half in a dream, half still in the chair. And and the whole time I'm not moving, but I kind of feel like I'm moving, kind of like out of desperation or something.
Yeah, that I think is pretty common. I've experienced that. Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced, for me, like when I have to go to the bathroom and I don't feel like getting out of bed, sometimes I'll dream that I do get out of bed and go to the bathroom.
Yes.
But then I'm like, oh shit, I didn't. And I'm like, I really need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, yeah. I've had those I've had those dreams too without the sleep paralysis. Like, and I think that's like that happening because I fully believe that while at least for me, while I'm sleep paralyzed, that if I just accept it and I'm just like, oh, I'm sleep paralyzed. Let me just like times where I'm like sleep paralyzed in my bed in a decently comfortable position. I'm like, oh, it's happening. All right, whatever. Let me just fall into it. And then I eventually just fall asleep and start dreaming. Right. But it's like when I'm like in a bad position, like I'm at work or I'm like I'm sleeping on my face, that I'm like, I want to get out of here right now. That like I start fighting it and it starts fighting me. And the whole thing is usually an uncomfortable experience, but it's never like terrifying for me. I'm never like scared. I'm only ever like, I need to get up right now or bad things are going to happen. Actually, like I'm going to be stuck, like feeling like I'm suffocating, or my manager's going to walk past and see that I'm asleep. And like, especially when I'm at work and I'm like sleep paralyzed in my chair, it feels like I'm sleep paralyzed for fucking hours. Because I'm so desperate to get out. I'm so desperate to get out. And I'm just like, it's not working. And at some point, I'm just like, bro, like, when am I actually just gonna stay here? Like, all right, the joke is over. Like, I'm over this right now. Can I please just like, really? I'm still here. Like, how much longer? Like, seriously? And then eventually, I just kind of like. I think I wake up when I've like fully, like for a second, like accept that this is my reality. And then I'm just like, and then I have to immediately get out of my chair. So like, I'm just like, all right, I'm going to stand up for the rest of the workday because I'm not doing that. I'm not letting that happen again, because there's been times where it's happened. I wake up and then I'm just like, all right, I got done this one thing. All right, just for a second, let me just rest my head back just for a second. Let me just take 3 breaths. Oh, I'm back here again. I'm fucked again. And I'm just like, all right, I swear, God, please, when I get out of this, I am getting up and walking laps around it. Please just let me out. I just want to stand up. I'll stand up for the rest of the day. So yeah, that's my experience with sleep paralysis. It's usually very inconvenient and very uncomfortable. It's never really scary or painful. I don't have sleep paralysis demons. If anything, I hallucinate people trying to help me. But yeah, that's me.
What you were saying about having it happen while you're face down, I mean, you unlocked a whole other level of terror right there for me. Like it's scary enough thinking about people that might be on their back, seeing creatures or whatever around the room. But
Mhm.
I couldn't imagine being face down and potentially, I know you haven't experienced this, but potentially also hearing or thinking you see things, but you can't even look because you're face down.
Yeah.
That's the stuff of nightmares right there. And also, I mean, you say that your breathing is okay though when you're face down, like you don't feel
I
like
mean,
you
I
can't
mean,
breathe.
it's like I can breathe, but it's like not ideal. Like I didn't intend to fall asleep in this position
Mhm.
entirely, but it's just like I'm just like when I think because like when I'm in this state, whatever I think about starts to happen. So when I'm like, wow, this is really uncomfortable, I can hardly breathe. It turns into, wow, this is terrible, I can't breathe. It just turns into that because I've like it just starts to manifest for
Yeah.
whatever reason.
Well, that makes sense. It's probably just anxiety.
Yeah.
I have a thing where, if I think of the worst thing that can happen, I start thinking that I am experiencing the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Fascinating stuff there, man. And how many experiences would you say you've had total?
It's gotta be it's gotta be over 2 dozen at this point, somewhere in that range.
so like 20 to 30?
It's like somewhere like 20 to 25 times. And I don't
Wow.
expect my last time to be the last time. So
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez, man. Well, I'm sorry you experienced that, but it gives us something really interesting to talk about. So thank you again.
yeah, I'm just like, I'm fortunate because usually when it happens to me, it's just inconvenient. It's not terrifying. Like, I don't
Right.
have the horror experience, which I'm thankful for because I guess, I don't know if being into horror makes you kind of immune to it because, again, I don't really have nightmares. So if you're prone to nightmares, you're probably prone to the demons.
Well, it's interesting you say that, and that's a good segue because I, of course, as you know, am a huge horror fan, and I do get nightmares quite
Mm,
frequently, actually. And while I haven't had a specific sleep paralysis experience, what I have had happen in the past is something kind of similar. So I will often wake up in the middle of the night. Usually, I don't know if you ever heard the term the witching hour. They
yeah.
say it's like between 3 and 4 or whatever. That's usually when I wake up, go figure. I can move my limbs and I pretty much have full control of my body, but I do have this sense of paranoia that comes over me.
Mm,
It's usually when I wake up suddenly, and it's usually when I wake up from a nightmare. Had one actually happen recently this past week where I went to see the new movie Weapons.
mhm.
I promise this movie's not sponsoring this podcast, but it is just that good. Go out and see it. Phenomenal movie. If you're a horror fan, if you're a movie fan in general, go
Our
see
promo
Weapons.
code is in the description.
Not sponsored whatsoever, but it is that good. Please. Anyway, um, movie was decently creepy. I mean, but I'm a horror fan. I'm pretty desensitized to horror movies, so they don't usually scare me that much whatsoever. And including this one, like, yeah, a few jump scares, whatever. But it kind of plays on your psyche as you're going to bed. I don't know if you experience this. I guess not. Maybe you're immune, but as much as a horror movie doesn't affect me when I'm watching it, it's later, it's afterwards that it
Mm,
kind of does start affecting me, as I'm going to bed and I think I hear a creak or something, in the floor.
yeah.
There's something in the closet. Maybe that's just my anxiety brain talking. But anyway, so went to see the movie Weapons. I think this was Tuesday night. I woke up, I think around 3 or 4 a.m. the next morning from a nightmare of being chased by something, some kind of creature or something. I don't know. So had a horror related nightmare after seeing a horror movie. Makes sense. And I wake up suddenly, and like I said, full control of my body. Could move my arms, legs. Could move my head around. But I felt like this kind of presence, like a dark presence at the door, at the bedroom door,
Mm.
and I swear that I saw a shadow underneath my bedroom door, like on the outside of it, like someone was in the hallway or something
Like
like
a
that.
shadow coming in. Like wasn't light from the hallway coming into the bedroom.
So it was there is a nightlight in the bathroom at our apartment that stays on all night. And so you can kind of see, under the door there's like a slight bit of light,
Hmm.
and it looked like something was in that light, like something was moving in that
Right.
light. And this isn't the first time that's happened. That's happened actually quite often to me not always after I see a horror movie, sometimes just randomly, where in the middle of the night, I'll wake up, again, have full control of my body, so I don't think it's sleep paralysis, but it's similar, and I feel paranoid, and I feel like I see a shadow underneath the door or on the other side of the door. And I also have this weird thing, again, probably just my anxiety talking, that when I wake up in the middle of the night, I don't know why I do this to myself. I think it's for a reason. I'm like, oh, why did I wake up at this specific moment? Maybe there's someone here and I'm waking up just in time to stop a robber or something. I do that to myself
Yeah.
for some reason. I don't
So
know
you
why.
start
I don't know.
you start writing an action movie.
No, for real. Like, I'm one of those people sometimes where I'm like, oh, everything happens for a reason. I need to stop because no, waking up at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning doesn't always happen for a reason. It just fucking happens. But sometimes I'm like, oh man, why did I wake up at this specific moment? Is there something here? Do I need to be ready to, defend my household? Stupidest thing, but that's something I experience. So, maybe it's not sleep paralysis. Maybe it's just a ghost. Maybe we have a ghost. Could just be that.
Yeah, it could just be a ghost. It could just be actually something threatening your well-being. Yeah.
But who knows? I'm huge into the paranormal, like I've said before on this podcast, but I've still never had a paranormal experience out of like maybe some stuff coming through ghost hunting equipment, never seen anything or heard anything.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect segue into I do know someone that has had sleep paralysis, and that is my fiance. This is actually a really creepy story, so buckle up.
Man.
We were in Williamsburg, Virginia, for the weekend. We were going to Busch Gardens. It was one of those timeshare trips. They're at the Maryland State Fair, and they were giving away free weekend trips if you come see our timeshare. The whole presentation, everything.
Yeah.
Side note: never doing one of those again because those people are insufferable. Had to sit through like a 4-hour presentation. And then when I told them, no, I'm not buying the timeshare at the end, the woman had a hissy fit and went out and started chain smoking. But anyways, so we were staying, we went to Busch Gardens that Saturday, but that Friday night, we were going on a ghost tour. And if anyone knows anything about Williamsburg, very, very haunted place. Obviously colonial, super historic place. There's so many houses in colonial Williamsburg that are haunted where horrible things have happened. Some of them has housed troops and, a lot of death around that area too. So a lot of paranormal activity, super huge hotspot for paranormal stuff. So my fiance and I, we do ghost tours quite often. We're into that kind of thing. So we actually got so into it, I guess me more so than her, that I actually ended up buying some ghost hunting equipment. So I've got an EMF reader, EVP, spirit box, which are the three basic things that most, basic ghost hunters have.
Yep.
So I brought all that equipment along with me. Didn't really get any readings or anything on the Williamsburg ghost tour. But the interesting part is we come back to our hotel that night, or condo, or wherever the hell they put us up for this timeshare. All my equipment is with me in my backpack. So we go to sleep. And so experience that Jess had, she wakes up in the middle of the night to my spirit box going off. At least that's what she thinks she's hearing. And she is experiencing auditory sleep paralysis because she cannot move any of her limbs and her eyes were open. She's on her back and she is hearing the spirit box go off and she is just petrified, obviously thinking that a ghost followed us back from Williamsburg into our hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she described it is that she, obviously was terrified. She kept trying to wake me up because she was scared, but she couldn't because she couldn't talk, speak, couldn't move any of her limbs. So she was stuck there for, clearly only a few minutes, but it probably felt like much longer to her, not being able to do anything and just scared out of her damn mind. And she tells me about that the next morning, and I'm like, wow. As a paranormal person, I'm like, hey, maybe a ghost did follow us back. That's pretty cool.
She's over here just terrified. And you're like, oh, that's such a cool story.
Honestly, that's literally what my reaction was. But of course, I was sympathetic. It does sound terrifying.
Mhm.
But what we think it was, because I checked my spirit box that morning, it was off. Unless it did just turn on in the middle of the night. I mean, hey, it's possible.
Mhm.
We think it might have been the fan in the bathroom
The
that
fan.
was on. There's a bathroom close to our bedroom. I guess it kind of emitted a similar noise to the spirit box I have.
So
So
it
that's what we
was it was
think.
on.
It was on overnight, yeah. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't remember why, but it was. So we think that might have been it, what she was hearing, but she definitely experienced sleep paralysis because she could not move
Yeah.
any of her limbs. Oh, left out a super important part too. She said she felt definitively a dark presence encompassing the room, like almost a shadow going over her
Hmm.
as this happened. So it talks to the paranoia a lot of people have been experiencing. And she's experienced it a few other times before. I don't have the details of those stories, but she has definitely experienced the classical sleep paralysis of not being able to move your limbs and feeling some kind of dark presence come
Right.
over her. So yeah, that's my fiance's story. Really creepy. I can't imagine how terrifying that must have been. And even, I love the paranormal, but if that happened to me, I'd be scared shitless too. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Especially if I couldn't move. So I've yet to experience the part where my limbs can't move. I maybe one day I will. I don't. It's not something I really wish to experience, if I'm being honest. I tell everybody like, "Oh yeah, I wish I would see a ghost or interact with the paranormal." That sounds interesting to me, but no, I'd rather not be stuck and not able to move my limbs. That sounds awful. So
Yeah.
I'm good. But yeah, definitely something that a lot of people close to me have experienced. And I mean, we're going to get into it now a little bit about what other people have experienced. So this is a good segue to sleep paralysis demons. You've probably heard the term, people use it now as like a layman's term, like, oh, my sleep paralysis demon manifests as this. People that have never had sleep paralysis, it's like a cultural phenomenon now.
Hmm.
But sleep paralysis demons, they're not all demons, obviously, what people are seeing, but in a nutshell, a lot of people are reporting seeing terrifying monsters or shadow people or some kind of entity during a sleep paralysis episode. And the whole collection of entities has kind of collectively been given the name sleep paralysis demon. And they often take the form of shadowy figures. And a really common experience here, going back to this, is having the figure sit on your chest and feeling that accompanying pressure. So
Hmm.
I can only imagine. I've heard, I listen to a paranormal podcast. I've heard countless stories of people saying that a creature or a demon or some kind of entity comes in the room at night and sits on their chest. That is so well documented. It's super, super common.
No,
And I keep
see,
thinking, like, why?
I for some reason haven't really heard of that specifically. Maybe like once before, but it's usually like, oh, the entity is like at the foot of your bed, like kind of like peering over with like you could just see its head and its eyes, or it's like right beside you, or it's like sleeping next to you, or it's fucking above you. Like I've
Oh,
never heard of. I've never heard of it sitting like specifically sitting on your chest.
there's a lot of different places the entity can be, and yeah, those are very common too. But what
Hmm.
I've been hearing a lot of lately is the sitting on your chest. Listen to Monsters Among Us. If you listen to the Monsters Among Us podcast, tons of those stories about creatures sitting on your chest, and I think it kind of it matches. It really it checks out because part of the symptoms that I was reading is chest pressure, right? Feeling like
Right.
you can't breathe. So maybe that's manifesting into whatever creature you're seeing you think is on your chest because
Hmm.
you feel that pressure.
Right.
I don't know. But we'll get into some of these types of creatures. So, some of the most common creatures are the Hat Man. It's a tall, kind of lanky man with a hat. That I think is the common standing in the corner of your bedroom is where most people report seeing this specific entity.
Yeah.
Um,
And
the old,
that's not
go
specifically
ahead.
a sleep paralysis demon. That's just like a entity that can appear anywhere. But like for these people, it's like that's the guy that's their sleep paralysis demon. And like he visits them when they're in sleep paralysis.
Yeah, yeah. There's shadow people, which I've alluded to before, which is just exactly what it sounds like. Figures that you can't really see any facial features or anything. It's just like they're
Hmm.
shadows. Um, Dead relatives is an interesting one. So we talked about the
That's
article
crazy.
that's really got to fuck some people up. That we talked about the article at the beginning of the podcast. That's what happened to that author. Is she was seeing not only her friend Emily, but if you read further down in the article, she was seeing dead relatives and a lot of other people she knew at night hovering over her bed.
Mhm.
So think of all the stories where a dead relative comes back to visit. Maybe it's just sleep paralysis, maybe not. I don't know. But in my opinion, I think without a doubt, the most terrifying sleep paralysis demon out there that I've heard of is the old hag.
The old
There's
hag.
something with me. I mean, it varies by person, I'm sure, but for paranormal entities, anything that involves an old woman is just much more terrifying to me than
Mhm.
anything else. I don't know why. I mean, kids are creepy. They're probably a close second, like creepy kids. I mean, if you look up some of the images of this thing, it's, oh man. And for me, I don't know why it's always been this way. Any entities, any ghosts, for some reason, to me, the female ones are always scarier than male ghosts,
Mhm.
at least from what I've seen, at least, through horror movies. Like I've said, I've never
Yeah,
seen a
I
ghost.
think that's just like, I honestly think that's like almost like a trope at this point, because like even in like creepypastas and like even like folklore and things like that, things like the banshee and things like that, it's always a woman in a flowy dress.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so interesting though because like you think in everyday life like right I'd be probably much more scared around like a man than a woman just in general if I'm like walking down a dark alley, right? I think
Hmm.
that's pretty normal. But no, in the paranormal for some reason I just feel like, if I see a nice gentleman in a suit, I might say, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" But if I see like some woman with like long hair, I think it might be the long hair thing. Like seeing a ghost with long hair just creeps me the fuck out. I don't know what it is. So,
Hmm.
if it's a male ghost and has long hair, probably the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the old hag, that's the one that really commonly sits on people's chests
Right.
from what I've heard. So just to make it even more scary. And in fact, so going back to the article that we referenced at the beginning of the podcast, there is a painting of it seems like someone that might be experiencing sleep paralysis. And this kind of is interesting because it speaks to the origins of sleep paralysis. This is a painting from 1781.
Hmm.
It's called The Nightmare by Henry Fuseli. And some people interpret this painting as a depiction of sleep paralysis because, as we've said during episodes, you can hallucinate demons while you're in a purgatory state. So if you look at that painting, it's kind of looks like a little troll or something sitting
Yeah.
on top of this woman's chest.
Like a
So
little goblin.
was this happening? I'm sure it was. Sleep paralysis back in 1781. Is this the earliest documented case of sleep paralysis?
Yeah,
Something
I'm
to
sure
think
I'm
about.
sure that this phenomena has been a thing for like the entire time. Like
Yeah.
for a really long time. And what's scary about that is like people's interpretations of it. It's like, oh, like you wake up and you tell somebody about this and you're like, "Oh, you're a witch." Or like, "Oh my god, you're haunted. We need to burn you," or something.
Oh my God.
Like
That
all of the superstitions around that could like run wild because there's no science, there's only folklore and superstition that could get really bad really quick.
I've literally heard a theory that the Salem witch trials was all caused by sleep paralysis. That people were seeing the townspeople they accuse of being witches, sitting on their chest at night or hovering over them at night because it's just sleep paralysis and they're seeing faces they know.
Right.
Can you imagine if all these poor women were burned at the stake because of fucking sleep paralysis? Oh, just
That would be
horrible.
some shit. That's crazy. But a lot of things that are explained by science now was literally magic, witches, ghouls, and all that stuff way back then. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of stuff.
All right. So those are the types of sleep paralysis demons, the most common types. Now, I believe, Andre, you have some stories to share.
Yeah, we're gonna pull up a good old Reddit and read what people got to say about some stuff they've experienced, because that stuff is interesting.
Old Reddit.
Let's see. Yep, it's good for some things, I guess. Now, we have a post here from someone named Tiny String. No, someone named Tiny Sting. It's titled, "I have suffered with sleep paralysis 5 times now and would like to share the worst experience. The worst one so far. It was early hours in the morning. I had woken up from a deep sleep and was trying to fall back asleep again. I was laying on my back, completely paralyzed. I could see my whole room, but my eyes felt shut." So see, that's like mine, but I don't see anything. I only see black. So and I guess that answers my question, is like, are your eyes actually open, or are you picturing your eyes open? So this person is picturing their eyes open.
Maybe not.
Maybe they're imagining their eyes are shut, but their eyes are actually open. Who knows?
Yeah, either or. I don't know.
I could not move my body or shut my eyes. I could hear really loud, muffled whispering. I could not understand a word of it. It just sounded like muffled whispering at the volume my earphones would sound on the highest volume. The loud whispering kept coming and going, and then a man with brown hair and a massive scar on his face came running towards me. He had a cream-colored vest top with gray cargo trousers. He was very muscly,
I'm sure.
Muscly. He was very he was very muscly, and was dripping with sweat.
Oh, this sounds like a romance novel now.
Oh, okay. He came out of nowhere and so quickly that before I knew it, he was on top of me shouting with his hands over my mouth and nose. He was pressing down so hard I could not breathe. I could feel his hand over my face and he was pinching down on my nostrils. I literally felt like I couldn't breathe and he was going to kill me. My body was trying so hard to push him off, but I was completely paralyzed. It felt like I was squirming from side to side, like I was trying to save myself from suffocating. This felt like it was going on for ages. I suddenly felt my body jolt and move to the side so that my body was now laying on my side, laying sideways. My eyes were then covered with darkness, but they were still open. A silhouette of a little boy came from my eyeballs. As he walked, the way that's phrased, I don't know. As he walked out of my eyes, I could see him float from my eyes into the mirror on my wardrobe beside my bed.
So it literally came from her eyes, I think is what she's saying.
That's what I'm interpreting as. It's the only way I'm reading it as. It was terrifying, and I screamed so loudly at the top of my lungs and instantly woke up and turned my lights on in fear of waking up my family. It turns out I didn't actually scream, but it felt so real. My mom was in the shower getting ready for work as she had early starts, 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I could hear the sound of her shower throughout the whole experience.
So, oh my God, look at the time again. So her mom has work at 4 or 5 a.m. So what time was her mom up showering? Probably around 3. Why does everything happen at fucking 3 a.m.? That is
it's the witching hour, bro. That's when the shit goes bump in the night.
Man, that's wild.
So this person, the whole thing about the eyes being shut or open, like this person said they were trying to open and shut their eyes, but they said that their eyes felt like they were shut, but they could still see. So that's the part that I can't, from my experiences, I can't understand because like my eyes are shut and I just see black unless I'm like really trying to imagine something. Then I can get like really ghostly wisps of it. Like it doesn't fully manifest as if my eyes are just open and I'm looking around, but I don't know.
I do wonder, how many of these experiences are actually just dreams? How many times are you just dreaming in your bedroom?
Yeah, because that's true. Because like reading stuff like this, like you can always attest for your own experience. Like how I said, like I'm very sure that I'm not dreaming because the consistency of my body and my body's position being like, okay, I chose to be in this position. I'm gonna move into this position and I'm gonna take a nap, and then wait, I'm stuck in this position. And then when the sleep paralysis finally releases me, I wake up from that position. So like that consistency in my experience, I can be like, no, that's definitely not a dream, because why the hell didn't I just go to sleep and then like I'm floating on a cloud or doing whatever in my dream? Like, why am I stuck in the position that I chose to be in, and then I wake up out of that position that I chose to be in? So yeah.
Yeah, a lot to unpack there, really.
Okay, so this next story is from Brilliant Ad 2923. It says, sleep paralysis, story and tips. Suffered from sleep paralysis for a while. This is to try to help anyone else suffering. If you just want tips, scroll to the bottom. So there's a story and then there's tips at the bottom. My story. The first time I had sleep paralysis was about 6 months ago. It started off with no hallucinations, but progressively got worse. Felt pressure on my chest and difficulty breathing to start off with. Read that sleeping on your back is a bigger trigger for it, so I started sleeping on my side.
I have heard that. I have definitely heard that.
Yeah, I've had most of when I'm in bed, I've had most of my episodes sleeping on my back. Like there's obviously the odd times that I'm sleeping on my front, and that's the part where I have trouble breathing, but most of the times it is on my back. That seemed to help for a while. sleeping on his side. Until about 2 months ago, I felt something tugging at my arm, trying to turn me onto my back. And it was tugging hard. The most terrifying experience of my life. Until about a week later when I saw a shadow man. Long, thin head, red eyes, three long fingers on each hand, and a bunch of wispy tendrils floating behind him. Is that just Slender Man?
It sounds like it, man. Like exactly.
It actually does sound exactly like him. I quickly shut my eyes, then opened them again, and he rushed towards me and reaching out and screaming. Now, see, that exact thing, like your sleep paralysis demon charging at you, is something that I've seen in like video games depicting sleep paralysis. There's always like a point in the game where the lights kind of like flicker and they like shut off, and when they come back on, the whatever the entity is just sprinting full speed Olympic sprint right at the bed, and then it disappears again.
Yeah.
Tried telling myself it wasn't real, but I just didn't believe it. I thought he could only move if I looked, and if he touched me, I would die. The most terrifying thing I've ever experienced. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, not even Hitler, apparently. Okay. Okay, sure.
I don't know about that.
No. Hitler can be sleep paralyzed. That's fine. He can deal with that.
Yeah.
When I finally woke up, he had left, but the terror remained. I didn't sleep that whole night. I was terrified of the dark, kept the lights on, and just sat in the corner of my room so that I could see the whole thing and waited for the morning. Even though I knew what sleep paralysis was, I was convinced I was becoming schizophrenic. I mean, that could be something that you could conclude. Like I said before, like, I wonder if people like rush to a doctor to try to get diagnosed for something. That is something that you could think. With the help of coffee, I stayed awake for another night. And on the third day, I saw him again. But whilst awake, I had just gone up to brush my teeth, and he was stood at the bottom of the stairs. The fear I felt was the purest emotion I will probably ever feel. Nothing compares. I feel like now I could be getting kidnapped with a gun in my face, and it would be nothing. I don't know about that, but I thought I was possessed. Sleep deprivation also causes delusions and a genuine belief that this stuff is real. I was able to sleep with the lights on eventually, slept for 16 hours, and the ordeal was finally over. My God. I read after that to just focus on how it isn't real. And now I know a few ways to get rid of it, and even learned to lucid dream from it. So
I don't know, man. I think this guy sounds like he's just got a ghost.
I mean, anything is possible
when he's awake.
I mean, anything is possible at this point. I mean, yeah.
He's either got a ghost or he didn't sleep enough, so he's really getting some trippy hallucinations because he has no sleep.
Yeah, a lot
of things going on with
there
him.
Could be a lot of factors like leading to this. It doesn't have to be just sleep paralysis. Like that could just be one of the symptoms of a bigger problem. Like you could be haunted. I don't know.
Also, don't you love how I'm like assigning a gender to these people, even though I have no idea? I thought the first one was a girl for some reason, and for some reason I think this is a guy. I don't know. There's no evidence to support that, but
I kind of did assign that. Like I did think the first one was a girl speaking,
and this is a guy, right?
I don't know. Maybe it's in the way they're typing. I don't know. Something between the lines is telling us this.
It's so interesting.
Okay, so for the tips, first of all, it isn't real. It can't hurt you. So try not to be afraid. I know it's hard, but the more you panic, the worse it's going to be. Try to relax. This is 100% true. Like I've been saying this the whole time. Like when I'm sleeping on my face, the more I'm like, this sucks. I can't breathe. The more it starts to suck, and the more I can't breathe. Right. So like the more you think about the thing, the more it actually happens. Sleeping on your back can cause it. So can having your pillow too high. Use one pillow or even none. It's also better. Yeah, I don't know about none. It's also better for your spine.
So that's interesting because I have a very thick pillow. I like my head up pretty high, so I guess I'm more susceptible to it. But I do sleep on my side, so that's probably why I'm I'm chilling.
Yeah, I can't have my head very high. I have neck problems as it is. So stick to a sleep schedule, or just make sure you have enough sleep, 7 to 8 hours.
I
Don't
wish.
don't drink alcohol straight before bed. I don't. Reading that,
Okay.
that's so like, don't drink alcohol straight before bed, as if like somebody's like, all right, before I go to bed, I gotta freaking drink some alcohol, like specifically
mean,
to go to bed.
No, bro, I've heard of it. Some people, like, it helps them fall asleep when they drink. Because if you think about drinking alcohol, it kind of turns your brain off. So people with like high anxiety, it's probably not medically prescribed, but I could see it. People
Right.
drinking alcohol before they go to bed.
Yeah, I guess I can see it. Yeah. To get out of sleep paralysis, try moving one body part at a time. Wiggling your toes, fingers usually work. You can't move your whole arm, and you can't sit or stand. You can try holding your breath. Okay, I would not try that.
Hell no.
This works for some people. Okay, so
Absolutely not.
wiggling my fingers and my toes doesn't work for me. And oh yeah, and that's also like a way that you can tell that you are sleep paralyzed, is that you can move like your extremities, the really extreme points of your body. You can move your fingers and your toes, but nothing else moves. Doing that does not work for me. It's just like all it does is like confirm that I am sleep paralyzed. It does not help me wake up or anything like that. It's just like, honestly, trying to wake up for me is just like me fighting an uphill battle. It's just like, it does not work for me at all, which sucks, because I'm one of those people that literally just has to wait it out. Don't go straight back to sleep, or you will slip straight back into it. Now that I believe.
Yep.
That I believe. Like, if you're sleep paralyzed and you're suffering like me and you just want out, you would sell your house to just get out of it. Once you do get out of it, you need to get up and go do something. Do some push-ups, drink some water. I don't know, splash some cold water on your face. Like,
yeah.
I'd rather lose the rest of my night of sleep than go back to that. So I found that when this happens, it gets worse each time. Get up for 15 minutes, walk around, get a glass of water. Yep, exactly. Do a bit of scrolling, then get back to sleep. You should be okay. So don't go immediately back to sleep. You should get up, do something, so like to stop the death spiral that is sleep paralysis. I've learned recently that sleep paralysis is a gift. All right, listen. All right, I don't know where we're going here. Like,
no, I need to hear this. Read it.
Your mind is awake, body's asleep. This is the same building blocks as a lucid dream, but your brain believes that you are in danger because you can't move, so it creates these horrors so you can sort it out. You need to take control. Treat these demons like boggarts in Harry Potter. Treat these demons like boggarts in Harry Potter. They have no power if you aren't afraid. Laugh at them. They're pretty goofy. I don't think my guy even has legs. Okay, so apparently this guy's sleep paralysis demon has no legs, so he'd just be crawling to you.
It's Lieutenant Dan.
And once you realize you're in sleep paralysis, don't try to wake up. Think of something you want to do. I usually just think of flying around at the solar system and looking at all the planets, and then I'm actually doing it. But you can't do anything. Treat sleep paralysis as a gift, not a curse. Now, this does tie into what I was saying, that like, not when I am at work, but when I am in my bed, I don't need to try to get up, right? Unless I'm in a bad, uncomfortable position. But if I'm in a comfortable position, I'm not at work, I'm in my own bed, I can kind of just like, okay, I'm sleep paralyzed, but I actually want to go to sleep. So let me just kind of just fall into it. And then you're in that state where you're able to like literally like you're in a menu system and you can just like pick your dream. It's just like, what do I want to dream about tonight? And then you literally just think about it, and eventually you'll actually just kind of be in it, and you will actually have fallen asleep, not like that weird freaking in between state I'd be in if I'm at work, where I'm kind of dreaming, I'm kind of astral projecting myself, but I'm still in the chair because I'm desperately trying to escape the chair. But yeah, that does make sense.
I mean, hey, I admire that guy's tenacity and his ambition.
Yeah,
I would say. I wish I could control my dreams. I mean, outside of pretending or thinking that I'm going to the bathroom, I've tried before to try to like, oh, I really want to have a dream tonight about this, and
Hmm.
never works. It's something completely opposite, something completely fucking random.
Yeah. I do have
So,
to say, on a side note that's not sleep paralysis related, I have developed over the years, ever since like I was like a kid. It had to have started like maybe early high school or in middle school, where I've developed this superpower to be able to like get myself out of a bad situation in a dream. So say like for some reason I've just got done playing Resident Evil 3, and in my dream I'm getting freaking chased by Nemesis, this big freaking tyrant monster who's very conscious. Explaining it for Matt because he probably doesn't know what Resident Evil 3 really is.
thank you.
So it's this big monster creature that's this basically a bioweapon made from a real person, but now he's just this huge freaking hulking figure. He's ugly, he looks like a zombie, but he's intelligent. He can use tools. He has one mission, and that's to like kill this one like group of people. So like if I have that motherfucker like chasing me around a corner and I'm like running from him, right? And then I hit a dead end and he's about to turn the corner behind me, I can be like, nope, I'm not doing this. And I literally turn to whatever direction away from him, and I just dive full speed in a direction, and I will blast through a portal, fall through like a void, and then end up somewhere else in like another completely unrelated dream. I'll just hit the eject button and I'm out of there. And I've been able to do this consistently for years, that if I'm in a bad position, I don't really have nightmares, but if I'm having that nightmare and I'm like, I'm screwed, my back's up against the wall, I just hit that escape button and then I'm out of there.
Huh.
So
wow, that's quite the skill.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody wants like an escape route to like get out of a nightmare, if you're able to like keep your consciousness and be like, I like to know that you're in a dream, but not like to kind of lucid dream, but not to the point where the dream kind of dissipates. If you're able to like kind of like create like an escape route, create something, some magic, whatever, to get you out of a situation, you might be able to do that. You might be able to do that shit consistently, because that's what I was able to do. So,
well, I actually have the opposite experience. In
Really?
my dreams, sort of. So, this is common. You ever hear the saying where like you don't know what it's like to die, so if you die in your dreams, you just instantly wake up?
mhm,
You ever heard that?
right.
I have something similar to that, where it's like if I've never been in a situation before, I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'll wake up. So if I get into some real shit in my dreams, like I have to fight a fucking monster or something,
Hmm.
I just usually instantly wake up because I think my brain doesn't compute. It's like, how the fuck are you gonna do this?
How the hell do you fight a
Because
monster?
yeah, so literally the other day I had a dream, strangest dream. This one really freaked me out a little bit. I was for some reason in a warehouse overnight, sleeping in a warehouse, like guarding some materials or some shit. And it was dark, it was creepy, and I see there's a little light outside. You know those doors in like grocery stores that have like a window in them? You know
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about? They like
yeah.
go back to the meat department or
Right,
whatever.
right. Yeah.
So I was looking at one of those doors, and all of a sudden a face appeared in one of the doors. Really fucking creepy. And I was just like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" And I was like, "No, I have to fight this thing." And so
Mm,
I get up and I burst through the door, and I'm about to like sucker punch this thing or person, and I just wake up instantly.
damn, didn't even get
And
the punch off, man.
I didn't. I think it's because I've never been in a fight before. I'm a pretty peaceful person, so I've
Right,
never had to like experience physical violence or anything. So I'm like, is it because I don't know what to do? Like I don't know how I would be in a fight. Like
right.
I think about that sometimes. I'm like, my wrists are a little weaker than the average person, so would
Yeah,
my like hands just like fucking fall off if I try to punch somebody? I don't
yeah. I
know.
don't know.
But
Like,
yeah, I was just like, shit, I wanted to know what happened. Could I have taken that guy or not?
right. Maybe that's
Uh,
why dreams end abruptly, is because your brain doesn't know how to create something, like, because your brain is not creating something out of nothing, right? Like the dreams that you have is because of this, like some like amalgamation of your experiences in life. So like if you haven't experienced something, you're not really gonna dream it. I think like most of the outlandish stuff like that people dream is because like of movies they watched or video games they've played and things like that, not necessarily things that they've done in real life. So like
I think
so
there's
maybe
some truth to that.
yeah, so maybe like because sometimes I get into weird altercations in dreams, not necessarily fights, but like weird stuff. And maybe that's because I play a lot of horror video games, action video games, and things like that, where people are getting into fights and things like that. People are fighting with swords, with guns, or anything like that. So maybe me actually having played those games like gives my brain the ability, like something to work with to create that experience in a dream.
It could be. Yeah, and I mean, I've seen plenty of action movies, so you think I would be able to just, fucking lay the smack down on this guy, but no. Yeah. I just cut, I'm awake.
Yeah, maybe it's not enough to watch it happen. Maybe you have to actually, like, if you're behind, like, say if you played a video game where you're fighting people and you actually have to use your brain to do the thing, maybe that's the connection.
Well, I've played Spider-Man, you know this.
You haven't had any dreams where you're Spider-Man?
No, but I'm saying, like, obviously, as Spider-Man, right. I've beat up people, so I should know how to do that, but no.
Yeah, man.
I don't know.
Who knows?
It's interesting.
What do you guys think is the connection? Leave it in the comments.
So we got one more Reddit story, right?
Yep. So this Reddit story is from Lady Garfield. I fought my sleep paralysis monster and had an interesting conversation.
Okay, so we do know this is a lady, definitively.
Yes. Well, fighting the sleep paralysis monster makes for a great nightmare. I had sleep paralysis for most of my adult life. Usually I'm paralyzed wherever I remember falling asleep and hear loud bangs, furniture scrape on the floor, things being dragged, bodies being pushed off the stairs, gunshots, etc. You hear specifically extreme. Bodies being pushed off the stairs. So you're hearing somebody getting pushed off the stairs. They're screaming and they're like, and hey, I don't know, bro. This is a lot of crazy stuff. People be hearing stuff, man.
Maybe they just live in a bad area, no?
And that actually just happened next door, and you actually just heard that.
Gunshots. I don't know.
I don't know. Usually while this happens, I feel like I'm being suffocated. This time, I felt my body going numb and looked out of the corner of my eye and saw him. It was a shadowy figure I saw through my blanket. I sleep with covers pulled over my head. That's what they're specifying. So they saw this person through the blanket, which is crazy. He had one of those animal control sticks with a rope loop on the end on me. So is that
controls?
Is that a freaking cattle prod? What is that? Like some type of stun rod?
I feel like I think I've seen them before, where it's like the stick with the loop on the end, and it's kind of like a leash.
Oh, yeah. It's like those things that people like use to like get alligators. Like you get it around their snout.
Yeah, like dangerous animals. I
think. Yeah. You get it around their snout so they can't open their mouth. Right.
I believe so.
Well, I remember grabbing it and like rolling my body onto it, ? This part is unclear. It was a lot of adrenaline and I felt like half my body wasn't working right by this point. I cut my thumb on some sort of pen-sized metal tool. Worth mentioning, not sure if I ever felt real pain in a dream before. This hurt. Like I grabbed a knife point with my thumb. I actually expected there to be blood. At this point, he says, "Now you're gonna do whatever I say." I felt tired, like sedated from it. I sat on my bed and looked right at the guy. He wasn't as hard to look at as I thought he was gonna be. Okay. It was a man in his 50s, gray hair cut short with clippers. He wore a denim jacket, but I noticed there were holes in his arms like a honeycomb, as if bees made their home inside him. All right. Honeycomb man. The conversation was surreal. I couldn't fight anymore. We were panting and I got sedated. So I asked, "How long have you been doing this to me?" He says, "I don't know. I've had you a few times." He said there were a couple of us that bring them back and forth into the bodies. Okay. I was still agitated and asked him next time, "Could you go easy on me? I'm not a bad person. I bring people to the hospital for a living." He says he has no control over it. He says that he has guys, quote unquote, eating them right out of the crib. He said, okay. He said, I bring him back to the days of the red and blue hearts. which I took for being maybe he remembered diagrams of the circulatory system from another life or something. My impression was maybe he was a surgeon or maybe some kind of jinn, which is a genie. If anyone has seen this guy before, I'm going to be majority creeped out, but let me know. My impression was he wasn't a bad dude. So this person's sleep paralysis demon was kind of like, we're kind of just forced to do this. I don't really want to do this. And apparently this person believes that their sleep paralysis demon was somebody else in real life. Maybe they were a surgeon or something of that kind.
I don't know, man. I think that's a real dude. I think she saw a real dude in her bedroom. I never heard of people having full-on conversations.
Conversations with the sleep paralysis. And he explains himself, and he's just like, she's like, why are you doing this to me? And he's like, I don't know. I don't want to do this. I don't he's like a spirit. It
sounds like he's in the fucking mafia or something.
Right. Like he's like a spirit trapped. Like he's being forced to torment people because of like his overlord or his, I don't know.
It's so interesting how different each of these three stories are. Like the first one, I think classic sleep paralysis. The second one sounds like there's just a ghost. And this one sounds like this actually happened. Like some dude actually broke into her house and is like working for somebody and trying to take people. Yeah. I don't know. That's just my read on it.
I mean, it's everybody's experience. It like, I didn't even expect these to be that different, but like, yeah, people are experiencing some really weird stuff. And the thing about it is that what if it's not sleep paralysis? What if they're actually haunted? Or what if they're haunted? If this was actually just a dream, or it just happened in real life and it was so hazy of a memory that you can't, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's very crazy. Now, I have to say that sleep paralysis across different cultures really has, I think, different interpretations. So
definitely, because not all cultures are really like putting science at the forefront of what they believe, right?
In fact, I think the US is more, so science focused. So we know a lot about sleep paralysis, but some of the more older cultures, some of the Asian cultures, for example, really tie a lot of interesting things to sleep paralysis. This article is from U.S. Ghost Adventures, which I have actually taken several of their ghost tours around the U.S., Cincinnati, Charlotte, a few different places. They do them in like major cities, which is interesting, as opposed to like, Williamsburg. They might have one in Williamsburg. I don't know. But so I found this article and, it goes through some of the typical, this is, what sleep paralysis is. Here's an interesting tidbit. The original definition of sleep paralysis was coined from a Samuel Johnson in his book, A Dictionary of the English Language, as nightmare. And the term nightmare kind of evolved into our modern definition because, you see, in Old English, the name for these sleep paralysis demons was mare, from a Proto-Germanic maron, and Old Norse mara, hence the mare part of the word nightmare. Some fun for you there on the word nightmare. But this article kind of goes through a ton of different cultures and what they attribute sleep paralysis to. I don't think it's necessarily scientifically or historically backed, but these are essentially what this article is saying is the description of sleep paralysis as we know it today. That description is attributed to this specific event or creature in these cultures. So, start Canadian Inuit folklore. Sleep paralysis demons are attributed to the spells of shamans. Japanese folklore is a vengeful spirit that suffocates enemies in their sleep. Now that checks out. I mean, Japanese paranormal and all their kind of interesting supernatural stuff over in Japan. It always seems to be some kind of vengeance based thing over there.
They're very vengeful spirit and like karma based stuff.
Yes. Yeah, Japanese folklore, insanely interesting. You could do a whole deep dive on that. I'm sure you love it too, Andre.
Yeah.
But that stuff is really, really intriguing. We got Fijian folklore here. I didn't even know they had folklore in Fiji. But hey,
I did not either.
I just knew about the water. No,
Fiji water.
Fiji is an island, and the experience in Fiji is interpreted as kana tevoro, or being eaten by a demon. In many cases, the demon can be the spirit of a recently dead relative who has come back to some unfinished business. So I guess maybe in Fiji, they're seeing a lot of that, the classic floating over you kind of thing. Are they thinking they're draining the light force out of you or something? I don't know. Being eaten by a demon. Eastern Chinese folklore. This one is really bizarre to me. It is thought that a mouse can steal human breath at night. Human breath strengthens the mouse, allowing it longevity and the ability to become human at night. The mouse sits near a person's face or under their nostrils, stealing the air.
Now that I've never heard of in any context at all. That's insane.
This is new to me. But
that's more reason to freaking put mouse traps in your house, I guess.
Yeah, right. If you think about the medical diagnosis where people are feeling suffocated, difficulty breathing, there you go. The mouse is there stealing your air. It checks out.
Yep.
Mongolian culture. So nightmares in general and sleep paralysis are referred to by the phrase kar darak, which means to be pressed by the black or when the dark presses. Okay, probably mispronounced that. Brazilian folklore. The demon has a name in Brazilian folklore. Pisadira, which is Portuguese for she who steps. She's a crone. What the hell's a crone? Do you know what a crone is?
A crone is like it's like a really old, disheveled witch.
Oh, great! Like a hag. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally a hag. Like if you want to insult an old woman, you call her a crone.
Yep. Nope. Would not enjoy this one. She's a crone with long fingernails, who lurks on rooftops at night and then walks on the chests of people who sleep belly up on a full stomach. Okay, very specific there. You have to have had a full meal before you go to bed to be affected by this crone.
Well then.
Clearly. Well, that certainly sounds like the old hag, and as I mentioned before, sitting on the chest. I don't know what's up with that hag. She loves sitting on the chest, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, here's what I was talking about earlier. So the United States, during the Salem witch trials, several people reported nighttime attacks by various alleged witches, including Bridget Bishop, that may have been caused by sleep paralysis. Man, that just...
I mean, yeah.
That is so insane to me, and I feel horrible if that's all it was.
At this point in our history, right, we know that there were not witches, right? But there had to have been something that started it, right? There had to have been some type of experience that spurred this. And there's so many things that are now so easily explained by science that we know today that weren't known back then. It's just like you wake up with some kind of a skin rash and you remember yesterday that freaking Lucy was touching all over your skin before, and you're like, oh my gosh, she did something to me. And it's like, actually, no, it's from that bush that you freaking climbed in and out of, actually.
Yeah, I have to say, as much as science has helped, the world felt, not that I would know, it seems like the world feels like it was a lot more mystical back then. Like there were a lot more people believing in the paranormal and phenomena, and science has really disproved a lot of it.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Days. That's why when we see stuff like The Witcher or like Game of Thrones, it's always way back in the day.
It's a bit depressing, though, man.
Yeah, it's always medieval.
I feel like, what a time to be alive when you think there's all these creatures and phenomena around. And for the record, I do believe in ghosts and demons for sure. I think they're both real. I've never seen them, but there is a lot of, for example, sleep paralysis disproves probably, I don't want to put a number on it, but I bet you about 50% of people's ghost stories probably are actually just sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
I would bet money on it.
I mean, yeah.
So who knows? So continuing on, in many parts of the southern United States, the phenomenon is known as a hag. There we are. And the event is said to tell of an approaching tragedy or accident, a bad omen. That reminds me of the Mothman, common cryptid out in West Virginia. I'd love to do an episode on him or something coming up. I'll just put that out there. Love urban legends. That's like a big thing. Cryptids, super into that. But the Mothman, it's, he usually appears around tragic events. So that's something interesting there. In the southern U.S., I mean, is West Virginia southern U.S.? Maybe it'll count. I don't know.
I think it technically counts.
Part of it. Big state, much bigger state than you would think. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Across cultures and centuries, the strange sensation of sleep paralysis has been described. Even back in 1664, a Dutch physician published a cause of a woman with sleep paralysis. He stated that the devil lay upon her and held her down. Countless other cultures have stories of these happening. So, a lot of different interpretations based on where you are in the world. I think that's just fascinating, honestly.
And when you have something like this and you don't have like science to explain it, your mind can take it like 70 different ways, and it's always based on the belief systems that are in the region or the culture that you're in.
Oh yeah, most definitely. So that's a little history and medical information and a few different experiences that people have had with sleep paralysis.
Yeah. So now it's time for you all to drop your sleep paralysis experiences in the comment section, and we are going to go ahead and tell you if it's real or not. No, but just let us know what you experienced. Have you experienced anything like we've described, like have been described in any of these articles, have been described by the stories on Reddit? Just, tell us what you think. Tell us the stories of your friends. Get your friends to write your stories. Just spam the comments with things, and we're going to read them.
We want to know. I mean, we've only scratched the surface, really, here. I'm sure there's so many other different demons out there and experiences. I want to hear more about the auditory experiences, Maybe people are out there hearing full-on conversations, talking to their demon. I mean, maybe they made friends with them. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I just don't really understand at all is the auditory hallucinations, because I only ever hear the environment around me as it was when I was awake. So that's definitely untapped territory for me. So, yep, let us know in the comments. Let us know about the podcast as a whole. And yeah.